Hey guys, it's 2 a.m. on April 22nd, and you're watching Michael's vlog. We're culminating the 40-day fast series as it's already Easter Sunday, or it's past Easter Sunday actually, because it's already 2 a.m. of the following Monday morning, and Christ has risen, so it's not Lent anymore. So we didn't eat any pork, beef, or chicken for the entirety of 40 days, and well, today we did eat some meat again. So we had lechon. Actually, wasn't as uh, exciting as I thought it would be, but it's definitely something that I really do love to eat. Um, on a quick note, since we are going back to eating meat, we're going back to our regular diet of uh, having intermittent fasting, and that means that we're also going to do what we are modifying to that before, which we're going to lessen the intake of carbohydrates to see how that affects the diet going forward. Because everyone's body is different, so different things work for different people, and it's really up to you to experiment on how and what works for you. So let's reflect a bit on the 40 days that have passed. Um, I've said it a couple of times before. It's been an interesting couple of 40 days. But it hasn't been, I would say, something ultimately super extraordinary. I think one of the thoughts that's very prominent in my mind, however, is how long Lent must feel to people that aren't keeping track. And it also makes you realize how little um, the church asks for, the Lord supposedly asks for, because again, like what they say, you only practice it on Fridays, which I don't think is the case, but they're the church, so I don't know. Maybe you only practice it on Fridays, but practicing it only on Fridays is literally just 1 day a week for 6 weeks. So you only abstain from eating for 6 days. That that really doesn't sound like a lot. I know that for some people it might be, um, but I guess for the majority of people, that really isn't a lot. And most of the people that really don't even um, take are very careful with that either. They still eat on those 6 days at the same time. So it's really uh, kind of disappointing, I would guess. I don't think disappointing is the right word, but something of the sort. What else? I don't think but I also didn't really expect that much from people anyway. Especially since most people don't really take their own spirituality that seriously. So again, like in every aspect of your life or your whole life in general, the only way to success is to live life deliberately. So when you live with intention, there's really somewhere that you're gonna get. Don't get me wrong, this isn't about not going with the flow, but the in going with the flow in my mind always seems more like seek and pursue the opportunities that are presented to you, but it doesn't mean that you don't pave your own way. It doesn't mean that you don't take an active role. uh, it doesn't mean that you're just like a leaf and you're like, oh, take me wherever you're gonna take me. It's not something like that, but it's definitely something that show me the opportunities that you presented to me and give me the strength to work towards them and be worthy of them. One of the quotes that I made a couple of years ago was, uh, people sh- people should strive to become worthy of the opportunities presented to them, and I think that should strike a chord with a lot of people. Um, some people definitely don't deserve the opportunities presented to them, but who's to say? But that's exactly the whole point. A lot of us don't deserve the opportunities that we're presented with, and it's our challenge to live up to that bar that has been set. It's our challenge, it's our responsibility even to improve ourselves to the point that we're worthy of that opportunity that was presented to us. Not everyone has the same opportunities, and for most of the people that are listening, you're already a lot more lucky than the majority of the Earth's population. So, uh, that's really something to consider. Um, More or less, that's really the more on the reflection I have on the practicing of the 40-day fast. It hasn't ultimately been very interesting in the sense that I discovered new foods or something. It's probably because I wasn't really forced into that much of a corner because we did take a lot of shortcuts, I would say. Fast food has saved us a couple of times, definitely when we're time constrained. So it's good that McDonald's is around, that we can eat a filet o fish or some Ebi burger or whatever. That it satisfies our diet but also doesn't break our fast or abstinence. So that's really good. I think a challenge for the following year would probably to step up the notch, maybe to either do a complete water fast until maybe for 7 days at a time, or maybe to add another condition, just like maybe no fast food or something like that. No junk food, maybe, or maybe just a condition that we can only eat food that we prepared ourselves. That those sound interesting. So it depends really on what we'll see. We'll see as we get into the next year. So what are we planning to do right now in terms of our spiritual journey? Um, uh, the Bible Project has a spreadsheet where you can read the entire Bible over the course of a year. And that's what I'm planning to do right now. We're gonna read the entire Bible to gain a lot of insight. I feel a lot of things that you can learn from the scripture that you wouldn't expect that you'd learn from the scripture. It's actually very interesting. But I guess that's the whole thing about books. You don't really learn, there's always something in the book, any book, not just religious text. There's a lot of things that you can learn that you wouldn't expect that you'd learn because titles are often deceiving. So uh, leaders are readers, just like one of the ads on YouTube. And well, I guess get into reading. Some people say that, or some studies say, or I'm not really sure, I saw it in a talk, that reading is only 10% of translates into only 10 or 20% learning capacity when you read. But one, that's a lot better than zero. And second, the 100% learning, or the fastest way to learn, is to actually do the thing that uh, you're trying to do instead of reading about it. But for the majority of situations, it's actually a lot easier said than done. Like for example, uh, starting a business does require a lot of planning beforehand, before you actually jump into the business, and it that's why a lot of businessmen, you can see, they do have a lot of times when they recovered from failures, and it's all about persistence that keeps them going. But you can see that it's through their personal experience that they did learn the tricks of the trade. So not a lot of them were very avid readers, but of course there's very limited things that you can learn from just reading. You need to also read and practice, then read and practice. So that's kind of a balance there in life. So that's it for tonight. It's already 10 minutes long, so wouldn't really very briefly, good and bad. A good is definitely I attended the feast Visayas. We had the great uh, Easter celebration. It was entitled Unburdened, and it was definitely an enlightening experience. I plan to expand it to my school in CIT, that we're gonna have the feast light. One of the projects, we'll put a pin in that. And second, the bad of the day is definitely I spent a lot more time cleaning the kitchen than I should have. It should have been spread out a bit more, maybe over the course of a week, because it's a kind of a big task to take on alone, but people aren't interested to help, and I don't want to impose myself on people that are busy or are pretending to be busy. So let's take up this burden and work alone. And well, we did get it to a point where it's clean, but we only cleaned one counter. There's definitely a lot more of the house to um, take over, to reclaim, to clean. But I tell you, by the end of summer, or maybe by the end of, let's just put a pin in it, but by the end of June, at the latest, maybe the end of May at the soonest, we're going to have a very clean house. You're gonna see the transformation. I'll make that video for you. So that's it for tonight. That culminates the 40-day fast series. I hope you enjoyed the series. I hope you enjoy it watching from the future, especially since there aren't any viewers at the current time. Um, I hope my content's a lot better in the future as well. So that's it for tonight. God bless you, and I hope to see you tomorrow.